Oh, hello there. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to tonight's double feature brought to you live by TBD Theater Company. Tonight's show includes two 30-minute radio dramas adapted for the Zoom stage diligently for your viewing pleasure. We will begin tonight's show with Richard Connell's The Most Dangerous Game, followed by a 5-minute intermission, and another drama, A Study in Terror by Lucille Fletcher called Sorry, Wrong Number. So, without further ado, please sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
Worried about the price of butter and eggs? Fed up with the housing shortage? Want to get away from it all?
CBS offers you Escape.
You are alone and unarmed in the green hell of a Caribbean jungle. You're being trailed by a pack of fiercely hungry dogs and a mad hunter armed for the kill. A mad hunter who believes that you, a human being, are the most dangerous game.
The Columbia Broadcasting System and its affiliated stations present Escape, produced by William and Robinson and directed tonight by Meg Spectre. Escape, carefully planned to free you from the four walls of today, free you for half an hour of high adventure.
Tonight, we escape to an island in the Caribbean, and the weird sportsmanship of a madman, as Richard Connell tells it in his unforgettable story, The Most Dangerous Game.
Hello, my name is Rainsford. You may have heard of me. I make my living hunting big game for many of the major museums of the world, guiding parties of sportsmen on safaris in Africa, Tibet, and South America. Perhaps you've had the occasion to run across some of my books. But even if you have, there's one incident you won't find described in them. The full story of my most terrible hunt. It all began on board a private yacht en route to Rio. Whitney, my host, and I were smoking our pipes on deck, lounging back in steamer chairs, enjoying the sensuous drowsiness of the warm night.
Good dinner, eh?
Excellent. Afraid I ate too much, though.
Care for some gin rummy?
Oh, no, I don't care to move.
All right. There's a rather large island off to the right somewhere. It's something of a mystery.
Really? Oh, I didn't know. What island is it?
The old charts call it Ship Trap Island. Suggestive name, isn't it? Sailors have a curious dread of the place, some superstition.
I can't see it.
Well, you have good eyes, but even you can't see 4 miles or so through a moonless Caribbean night.
No, not even 4 yards. It is dark, isn't it?
It'll be light enough in Rio. Oh, by the way, hope the guns come from Purdy's. We should have some good jaguar hunting up the Amazon. Great sport hunting.
Best in the world.
Yes, for the hunter, not for the jaguar.
Oh, why not? They've no understanding.
Even so, I rather think they understand one thing. Fear. The fear of pain, the fear of death.
Oh, rot, Whitney. Who cares how the jaguar feels?
Perhaps the jaguar does.
Oh, you're a big game hunter, not a philosopher. Look, the world is made up of 2 classes, the hunter and the hunted. We're lucky enough to be the hunters. And speaking of, you think we passed that island yet?
Can't tell in the dark. I hope so.
Why?
Oh, the place has a reputation. A bad one.
Cannibals.
Hardly. Even cannibals wouldn't live on such an isolated spot. It's gotten into sailors' legend somehow. Did you notice? The crew seemed jumpy today.
Yeah, they were a bit strange now that you mention it.
Yes, it's a sort of dread, a kind of mental chill. I'll be hanged if I haven't felt it myself.
Oh, pure imagination. Why, one superstitious sailor can infect a whole ship's company with his fear.
Maybe. Though sometimes sailors have an extra sense which tells them when they're in danger. Well, enough of that. I think I'll turn in.
Well, I'm not sleepy. I'll just have another pipe.
Good night, then. See you in the morning.
Yes. Good night, Whitney. It was very dark. So dark I could have slept without closing my eyes. The night would have been my eyelids. Puffed at my smoke and got drowsy. Then I was wide awake. A gun. Out there in the water, a gun. I sprang to the rails and strained my eyes in the direction of those shots, but I couldn't see a thing. I leaped up on the rail to get a better elevation, and my pipe striking the rope was knocked out of my mouth. I lunged forward and tight fingers closed around my heart as I realized I had reached too far out and lost my balance. The blood-warm waters of the Caribbean night closed over my head. When I came to the surface, the wash from the speeding yacht slapped salt water into my mouth, making me gag and strangling me. I coughed and spat it out and found my voice. Help! Help! Please, someone help me! The lights from the boat moved steadily away. They quickly became faint fireflies, and then they were blotted out by the night. I struggled out of my clothes and turned to the direction from which I had heard those shots. I began swimming slowly, conserving my strength. For an endless time I fought the sea. Then I began to count my strokes. Thought I could do possibly another 100 before. Someone was shooting game. Almost at my very elbow, it seemed. Gaining fresh vitality, I swam towards the sound. Then I was in the breakers. In another moment, I was dragging myself from the swirling waters, pulling myself hand over hand onto the narrow beach, gasping, panting for breath. I saw that the dense jungle had came down from the edge of the cliff, and I came onto the beach, and I was on land, on blessed land, safe on the warm sand. I awoke late in the afternoon, a sharp hunger picking at me. As I slowly came to my feet, I saw not far from where I'd been lying signs of a terrible struggle in the underbrush that sloped so sharply to the beach. Some wounded thing, evidently a large animal, had thrashed about there in its death right. Almost at my feet was a small glittering object, an empty cartridge from a .22. That was odd. The hunter had had his nerve to tackle a large brute with so small a gun. I examined the ground closely and found I had hoped for. The print of hunting boots. They pointed up towards a recess in the cliff, and I hurried after them, for night was beginning to settle on this island. It was already dark when I came upon it. First I thought it was a village. There were so many lights. But as I came closer, I saw that all the lights were in one building, a chateau on a high bluff. In a few moments, my feet were padding up stone steps, and I stood in front of those massive oaken doors. Good evening. Please don't be alarmed. There's no need for that gun. I'm no robber. It sounds silly, I know. I fell off a yacht. My name is Singer Rainsford of New York City. He was certainly not alarmed by me, this giant who stood facing me. That revolver in his hand continued to point steadily at my chest, and the man behind it was solidly built and black-bearded to the waist, and silent. He waved me in with the gun and closed the door behind him. I was in a huge hall, but there was no time to look around. Another woman was coming down the broad marble stairs, an erect, slender woman in evening clothes. I stepped towards her. I've just been explaining to this chap that I've had a terrible accident. My name is Singer Rainsford.
It's a great pleasure and honor to welcome Miss Rainsford, the celebrated hunter, to my home.
Well, thank you.
I've read your book on hunting snow leopards in Tibet. I'm General Zaroff.
Believe me, General, I'm very happy to see you.
All right, Ivan, you can put down that gun. This woman's a guest. Ivan's an incredibly strong fellow, but he has the misfortune of being a mute. Simple thing, but a bit of an ogre.
Well, I'm even happy to see him.
Come on, we shouldn't be chatting here. You want clothes, food, rest. You shall have them. This is a most restful spot.
I can't tell you how grateful I am.
It is my pleasure. Follow Ivan, if you please, Miss Rainsford. I was about to have my dinner, but it can wait. I think my clothes will fit you.
I followed the woman into a huge beam-ceiling bedroom with a canopy bed large enough for 6 men. Ivan silently laid out an evening suit. As I put it on, I noticed it came from a London tailor. And Whitney called this place too isolated even for cannibals. I went downstairs and sat opposite Zaroff in a dining room that suggested a baronial hall of feudal times. And the food was excellent.
Perhaps you were surprised that I recognized your name, but I read all books on hunting published in English, French, and Russian. I have but one passion in life, and that is the hunt.
Why, I noticed you have some wonderful heads here. That Cape buffalo is the largest I've ever seen.
Oh, that fellow, yes. He charged me, threw me against a tree, fractured my skull, but I got the brute.
And I've always thought the Cape buffalo the most dangerous of all big game.
No, the Cape buffalo is not the most dangerous.
No.
Here in my preserve on this island, I hunt more dangerous game.
Why, is there a big game on this island?
The biggest.
Really?
Oh, it's not here naturally. I had to stalk the islands.
Oh, what have you imported, General? Tigers?
No. Hunting tigers ceased to interest me when I exhausted their possibilities. There is no thrill left in tigers, no real danger. I live for danger. Cigarette, Miss Rainsford?
Please.
We will have some capital hunting, you and I.
But what game?
I'll tell you, you will be amused. I know. I think I may say in all modesty that I have done a rare thing. I invented a new sensation. May I pour you another glass of port?
Thank you.
I've been a hunter all my life, but after many years of enjoyment, I found that the hunt no longer fascinated me. It had ceased to be what you call a sporting proposition. I always got my quarry, always, and there is no greater bore than perfection.
Then you're a very good hunter, General.
No. I had merely discovered that the animal has nothing but his legs and his instincts. Instinct is no match for reason. When I realized this, it was a tragic moment for me. As I told you, I love to hunt. And then it came to me as inspiration what I must do.
And that was?
I had to invent a new animal to hunt.
A new animal? Why, you're joking.
I assure you I am not. A new animal. And so I found one. I bought this island, built this house, and here I do my hunting. This island is perfect for my purpose. There are jungles with a maze of trails in them, hills, swamps.
And the animal, General Zaroff.
It supplies me with the most intense excitement of all. I never grow bored now, for I have a quarry with which can match my wits. An ideal quarry with courage, cunning, and above all, reason.
But no animal can reason.
My dear fellow, there's one that can.
I can't believe you're serious. Why, this is some grisly joke.
Of course I'm serious. I'm speaking of hunting.
You're speaking of murder.
Surely your experiences in the war
did not make me condone murder.
I wager you'll forget your notions when you go hunting with me. Why, you've a genuine new thrill in store for you, Miss Rainsford.
Thank you. I'm a hunter, not a murderer.
Oh, dear me. That unfortunate word again. But I hunt the scum of the earth. Sailors from tramp ships, pirates, degenerates.
Where do you get them?
This island's called Ship Trap. There's a row of lights out in the reef which indicate a channel where there is none, only rocks. I control the lights from my tower.
You wreck their ships and then you shoot down the men.
But I treat my visitors with every consideration. They get plenty of good food and exercise. They get into splendid physical condition. You shall see for yourself tomorrow. Would you like some more port, please?
What shall I see tomorrow?
We'll visit my training school. It's in the cellar. I have about a dozen there now. Sailors. Inferior lot, I regret to say. More accustomed to the deck than the jungle. Ivan, we'll have our coffee now. Thick Turkish coffee, Miss Rainsford. Very good.
No.
Is your appetite quite gone?
No coffee. Thank you.
Just one, Ivan. It's a game, you see. I suggest to one of them that we go hunting. I give him 3 hours to start. I am to follow armed only with pistol of the smallest caliber and range. My quarry eludes me for 3 whole days. He wins the game. If I find him, he loses.
And if he refuses to be hunted?
Oh, I give him the option. If he won't hunt, I turn him over to Ivan here. Ivan once served as the official executioner to the Great White Tsar. He has his own ideas of sport. Invariably, they choose the hunt.
And if they win?
To date, I have not lost. I don't wish you think me a braggart. One almost did win. Eventually, I had to use the dogs.
The dogs?
Yes, just step over here to the window a moment. Huh? I want you to see my courtyard. Go ahead, Miss Rainsford. Open the window, please. I have a dozen, as you can see. They're let out every night at 7. If anyone should try to get into my house, or out of it, it would be, well, regrettable. And now I want to show you my new collection of heads. Will you come with me to the library?
I hope you'll excuse me tonight. I'm really not feeling at all well.
Oh, I am sorry. You need a good, restful night's sleep. Tomorrow you'll feel like a new man, and then we'll hunt, eh? I have one rather promising prospect.
But I was already hurrying from the room and up the marble stairway. I heard her calling after me.
Sorry you can't go with me tonight. I expect rather fair sport. It's a big man from the West Coast. He looks resourceful.
Well, the bed was good. I was tired, but I didn't sleep. I didn't toss or turn. I didn't move. I just lie rigidly in one spot. My eyes on the ceiling. My arms tight against my sides. My breathing slow and heavy. My mind empty. Waiting. The inky black was just beginning to dissolve. The thin line of gray was just beginning to seep insidiously into my room. And when Zaroff found his quarry, then I suppose I slept. When I awoke, the sun's shadows were already slanting through my room. Must have been well afternoon. I came down to find General Zaroff pouring himself a glass of brandy by the sideboard.
Ah, Miss Rainsford. Feeling better, I trust?
Yes.
Wish I could say the same. No, I'm not well. Hunting was no good last night. He made a straight trail and offered no problems at all.
General, I want to leave this island at once.
Miss Rainsford, tonight we will hunt, you and I.
No, I've told you I will not hunt.
I beg you to reconsider. My idea of sport is much more diverting than Ivan's.
You mean that?
Yes, you and I. It's really an inspiration, a foeman worthy of my steel at last. Oh, you'll find this game worth playing, Rainsford. Your praying against mine, your woodcraft against mine, your strength and stamina against mine. Outdoor chess in the stake is not without value, eh?
And if I win?
If I do not find you by midnight of the third day, then I am defeated. My sloop will place you on mainland near a town. Oh, you can trust me. I give you my word as a lady and as a sportswoman. Of course, you in turn must agree to say nothing of your visit here.
I'll agree to say nothing of the kind.
Well, in that case, why discuss it now? 3 days from now, we can chat over it, a bottle of Vivu Kikot. Unless... And listen, Rainsford, Ivan will supply you with hunting clothes, food, and a knife. I suggest you wear moccasins. They leave a poor trail. I suggest you too avoid the big swamp in the southeast corner of the island. There's quicksand there. And now you want to start, no doubt. I shall not follow until dusk. Hunting at night is so much more exciting than by day. Don't you think, Miss Rainsford? Good hunting.
I kept telling myself through tight teeth that I had to keep my head. My first idea had been to put distance between myself and Zaroff, so I plunged into the jungle in a blind panic. Before long, I shook it off and stopped. Straight flight was futile. It would only bring me out to the sea. Then I hit upon an idea of giving him a trail to follow. I would begin our dangerous game by playing the fox. For more than 2 hours, I went through the trackless wilderness, executing a series of intricate loops, doubling again and again on my trail. Night found me leg-weary with hands and face lashed by the branches. I needed rest badly, and having played the fox, I decided now to play the cat. I climbed into the crotch of a huge tree. An apprehensive night crawled by slowly like a wounded snake. Then at dawning, a startled bird suddenly screamed. And I flattened against a bough. Through a screen of leaves as thick as tapestry, I saw the general. She came slowly, her eyes fixed on the ground, almost beneath my tree. She paused and went down on one knee, studying the ground. Oh, I would have gone for her, leaping the way a panther does, except for the small automatic in her right hand. After a seemingly endless time, she came back to her feet. Her eyes left the ground and traveled inch by inch up the tree. I froze, every muscle tensed for a spring, and the hunter's eyes stopped just before they reached the limb on which I lay. A slow smile spread across those tanned features.
Oh, Rainsford! Where can you have gone? Where are you, you clever dog? I think we must go home and lie down a bit to think this over.
The pent-up air burst hotly from my lungs as she turned back and disappeared. So the general was playing with me, was saving me for another day's sport. Zaroff was the cat and I was the mouse. In that moment, I knew the real meaning of terror. I slipped from the tree and set off into the woods. I'd only gone a few hundred yards when I found a huge dead tree leaning against a small living one. I pulled my knife from its sheath and set to work. When the job was finished, I threw myself down behind the log a few hundred feet away. How long I waited, I don't know. It seemed like days. It was probably only a few hours. Then she was coming again, with the sureness of a bloodhound. Nothing escaped those searching black eyes. No crushed blade of grass, no bent twig, no mark however faint in the moss. She was so intent on her stalking. She was upon the thing before she saw it, her feet touching the protruding branch that was the trigger. The dead tree delicately adjusted to the rest on the cut living one, crashed heavily to the earth. And I waited yet another moment, not daring to look up to see if it really had done its work.
Rainsford, if you are within the sound of my voice, let me congratulate you. There aren't many women who know how to make a Malay man catcher. I'm a lucky woman, Rainsford. My reflexes are still good. Did you see me spring back even while I was falling? Rainsford, can you hear me? You are proving to be interesting. I'm going back now to have my wound dressed. Don't be alarmed. It's only a slight one. I shall be back. I shall be back.
It was dark, and I'd only been going for hours. The vegetation became ranker. Insects were biting me savagely. Then when the mud began sucking viciously at my feet like giant leeches, I knew where I was. About to enter the dense swamp with its quicksand. However, the softness of the earth gave me an idea. I stepped back about a dozen paces out of the quicksand and began to dig. When the pit was above my shoulders, I climbed out, and from some hard saplings I cut stakes, sharpening them to a fine point. I planted the stakes at the bottom of the pit with their points up. With flying fingers, I wove a rough carpet of weeds and branches, and with it, I covered the mouth of the pit. Then, wet with sweat and aching with tiredness, I crouched behind the stump of a lightning-blasted tree. I heard the padding of soft feet on the ground. I knew she was coming. The night brought me the perfume of the general's black cigarette. Though I could see nothing, it was clear to me that she was coming with unusual swiftness. She was not feeling her way along foot by foot. In one brief moment, I lived an entire year. Then I heard the crackle of breaking branches. The cover of the pit gave way.
You've done well, Rainsford. Very well. Where did you get the time? Your Burmese tiger pit has claimed one of my best dogs. And so you score again. I must see what you shall do against my whole pack.
She went away again, but I just lie there in the swamp that night. At daybreak, I was awakened by a distant sound, faint, wavering, the baying of a pack of wolves. I went up into a tree, down a watercourse. Not a quarter of a mile away, I could see the bush moving. I strained my eyes and saw the lean figure of General Zaroff. Just ahead of him, I made out that gigantic Ivan holding the pack in leash. I prepared the trick I learned in Uganda. I slipped from the tree and caught hold of a springing young sapling. Into it fastened a knife, its blade pointing down the trail. With a bit of wild grapevine, I tied back the sapling and ran for my life. The hounds hit the fresh scent and raised their voices, and I knew how an animal at bay must feel. Even as I ran, the clamor of the hounds suddenly ceased. And with it, my heart stopped, for that meant they had reached the knife. I climbed excitedly up a tree and looked back. and hope died in my brain. The general was still standing on his feet. Ivan, however, was not. The knife driven by the recoil of the springing tree had done its work. Then the dog took up the cry again, and I was on the ground once more. Nerve, nerve! I panted the words over and over as I fled headlong. A blue gap showed through the trees dead ahead. I forced myself up towards the gap and reached the sea. It lay 20 feet below me, rumbling and hissing. I stood a moment, poised over the edge. I heard the hounds. I knew it was the end. Then I leaped far out into the water.
Well, it's been a busy day, Adam. A busy day. Oh, down, Adam, down. What's the matter, my boy? Hungry? All right. Catch. Quite a day. Not perfect, of course. Two slight annoyances. One is that it'll be difficult to replace Ivan. And the other, well, our quarry escaped us, didn't he, Adam? Well, then, of course, the American didn't really play the game, so we won't count it. We won't count it at all. All right, my boy, that's enough for now. Out you go with the rest. Better luck another time. Rainsford.
Good evening.
How'd you get here?
Well, I swam. I found that quicker than walking through the jungle.
I congratulate you. You have won the game?
No, General.
Yes, yes. Of course you have.
I'm still a beast at bay. Get ready, General Zaroff.
I see. Splendid. One of us is to furnish a meal for the hounds. The other will sleep in this very excellent bed. Good, Rainsford, good. En garde.
The General was right. Never before in my life have I slept in a better bed.
Escape is produced by William N. Robson, was directed tonight by Meg Spectre. You have escaped tonight in the Richard Connell story, The Most Dangerous Game. Adapted for radio by Irving Ravitch, with Najja Akinwole, singer Rainsford, and Sarah Hertzfeld as General Zaroff. Special musical score was conceived and conducted by Jijon-Gochez.
Next week.
You're sitting at the throttle of a speeding locomotive, screaming against the curves of a mountain gorge, racing against time with death at your shoulder. Next week, you're the engineer of the Yellow Mail. Next week, CBS offers you Escape, with Frank H. Spearman's exciting story of railroading, the run of the Yellow Mail. Until the same time next week, good night.
This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Suspense. This is the Man in Black, here to introduce Columbia's program, Suspense. Tonight, as we premiere a new Saturday evening series on the air, Miss Najja Nazar returns to our stage to appear in the study in terror by Lucille Fletcher, called Sorry, Wrong Number. This story of a woman who accidentally overheard a conversation with death and who strove frantically to prevent murder from claiming an innocent victim is being repeated by popular request. It's tonight's tale of suspense. You'll know that suspense is compounded of mystery, suspicion, and dangerous adventure. In this series, our tales calculated to intrigue you, to stir your nerves, to offer you a precarious situation, and then withhold the solution until the last possible moment. And so, it is with the story Sorry, Wrong Number, and the performance of Miss Najja Nazar, we again hope to keep you in suspense.
Dear.
Your call, please.
Operator, I've been dialing Murray Hill 70093 now for the last 3/4 of an hour, and the line is always busy. I don't see how it could be busy that long. Will you try it for me, please?
I'll be glad to try that number for you. One moment, please.
I don't see how it could be busy all this time. It's my husband's office. He's working late tonight, and I'm all alone in the house. My health is very poor, and I've been feeling so nervous all day.
Ring Murray Hill 70093.
Hello?
Hello? Hello? Is Mr. Stevenson there?
Hello? Hello?
Hello?
Hello? George?
Yes, sir. This is George speaking.
Hello? Who's this? What number am I calling, please?
I'm here with our client.
Oh, good. Is everything okay? Is the coast clear for tonight?
Yeah, George. He says the coast is clear for tonight.
Okay.
Where are you now?
In a phone booth. Don't worry. Everything's okay.
Very well. You know the address?
Yeah, I know. At 11 o'clock, the private patrolman goes around to the bar on 2nd Avenue for a beer.
That's right. At 11 o'clock.
I will make sure all the lights downstairs are out.
There should only be one light visible from the street.
Yeah. At 11 o'clock, a train crosses the bridge. It makes a noise in case your window's open and she should scream.
Oh, hello? What number is this, please?
Okay, I understand. I tell you, that's 11:15, the train.
Yeah. You remember everything else, George?
Yeah. I make it quick, as little blood as possible. Because our client does not wish to make her suffer long.
That's right. You'll use a knife?
Yes, a knife will be okay. And afterwards, I remove the rings and the bracelets and the jewelry from the bureau drawer because our client wishes to make it look like a simple robbery. Don't worry, everything's okay. I never...
Oh, how awful! How unspeakably awful!
Your call, please.
Operator, I've just been cut off.
I'm sorry, what number were you calling?
Well, it was supposed to be Murray Hill 70093, but it wasn't. Some wires must have crossed. I was cut into a wrong number, and I've just heard the most dreadful thing. Something about a murder, and operator, you simply have to retrace that call at once.
I beg your pardon, may I help you?
Oh, I know it was a wrong number, and I had no business listening, but these two men, they were cold-blooded fiends, and they were going to murder somebody, some poor innocent woman who was all alone in a house near a bridge, and we've got to stop them. We've got to.
What number were you calling, please?
Well, that doesn't matter. This was a wrong number, and you dialed it for me. And we've got to find out what it was immediately.
What number did you call?
Why are you so stupid? What time is it? Do you mean to tell me that you can't find out what that number was just now?
I'll connect you with the chief operator.
Oh, I think it's perfectly shameful. Now, look, it was obviously a case of some little slip of the finger. I told you to try Murray Hill 70093 for me. You dialed it, but your finger must have slipped, and I was connected with some other number, and I could hear them, but they couldn't hear me. Now, I simply fail to see why you couldn't make that same mistake again on purpose, why you couldn't try to dial Murray Hill 70093 in the same sort of careless way.
Murray Hill 70093?
Yes.
I'll try to get it for you.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, Murray Hill 70093 is busy. I'll call you back in 20 minutes.
Operator! 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 Operator!
Your call, please?
You didn't try to get that wrong number at all. I asked you explicitly, and all you did was dial correctly.
I'm sorry, what number are you calling?
Can't you for once forget what number I'm calling and do something for me? Now, I want to trace that call. It's my civic duty, and it's your civic duty to trace that call and apprehend those dangerous killers. And if you won't...
I'll connect you with the chief operator.
Please! Oh, dear.
This is the chief operator.
Oh, chief operator, I want you to trace a call, a telephone call, immediately. I don't know where it came from or who was making it, but it's absolutely necessary that it be tracked down, because it was about a murder that someone's planning. A terrible, cold-blooded murder of a poor innocent woman, tonight at 11:15.
I see.
Well, can you trace it for me? Can you track down those men?
I'm not certain. It depends.
Depends on what?
It depends on whether the call is still going on. If it's a live call, we can trace it on the equipment. If it's been disconnected, we cannot.
Disconnected?
If the parties have stopped talking to each other.
But of course they must have stopped talking to each other by now. That was at least 5 minutes ago, and they didn't sound like the type who would make a long call.
Well, I can try tracing it. May I have your name, please?
Mrs. Stevenson, Mrs. Albert Stevenson. But listen, if you
And your name and your telephone number, please?
Plaza 42295, but if you go on wasting all
Why do you
this
want this call traced, please?
Well, no reason. I mean, I merely felt very strongly that something ought to be done about it. These men sounded like killers. They're dangerous. They're going to murder this woman at 11:15 tonight, and I thought the police ought to know.
Have you reported this to the police?
Well, no, not yet.
Apologies, some wires must have gotten crossed. But I'm sorry, Mrs. Stevenson, but I'm afraid we couldn't make the check for you and trace the call just on your say-so as a private individual. We'll have to have something more official.
Oh, for heaven's sake, you mean to tell me that I can't report that there's going to be a murder without getting tied up in all this red tape? Why, it's perfectly idiotic. Well, all right, I'll call the police.
Thank you. I'm sure that would be the very best way to deal with this.
Ridiculous, perfectly ridiculous. God of it, I can't see why I have to go through all this trouble.
Your call, please.
The police department, get me the police department, please.
Ring the police department.
Oh dear, do you have to dial? Can't you ring them direct? So annoying.
Police Station, Precinct 43, Sergeant Martin speaking.
Police Department, this is Mrs. Stevenson, Mrs. Albert Smythe Stevenson of 53 North Sutton Place. I'm calling up to report a murder. I mean, the murder hasn't been committed yet, but I just overheard plans for it over the telephone, over a phone number that the operator gave me. I've been trying to trace down the call myself, but everybody's so stupid, and I guess in the end, you're the only people who can do anything.
Yes, ma'am.
It was a perfectly definite murder. I heard their plans distinctly. 2 men were talking, and they were going to murder some woman at 11:15 tonight. She lived in a house near a bridge. Are you listening to me?
Yes, ma'am.
And there was a private patrolman on the street who was going to go around for a beer on 2nd Avenue, and there was some third man, a client who was paying to have this poor woman murdered. They were going to take her rings and bracelets and use a knife. Well, it's unnerved me dreadfully, and I'm not well. And I feel so nervous, and
I see. When was all this, ma'am?
About 8 minutes ago. Then you can do something? You do understand.
What is your name, ma'am?
Mrs. Stevenson, Mrs. Albert Stevenson.
And your address?
53 North Sutton Place, 53 North Sutton Place. That's near a bridge, the Queensboro Bridge, and we have a private patrolman on our street, and 2nd Avenue.
What was the number you were calling?
Murray Hill 70093, but that wasn't the number I overheard. I mean, Murray Hill 70093 is my husband's office. He's working late tonight, and I was trying to reach him to ask him to come home. I'm an invalid, and it's the maid's night off, and I hate to be alone, even though he says I'm perfectly safe as long as I have the telephone right beside my bed.
Well, we'll look into it, Miss Stevenson, and see if we can check it with the telephone company.
But the telephone company said they couldn't check the call if the parties had already stopped talking. I've already taken care of that.
Oh, you have?
Yes, and personally, I feel you ought to do something far more immediate and drastic than just check the call. What good does checking the call do if they stop talking? By the time you tracked it down, they'll have already committed the murder.
Well, we'll take care of it. Don't you worry.
Well, I'd say the whole thing calls for a search, a complete and thorough search of the whole city. Now, I'm very near the bridge, and I'm not far from 2nd Avenue, and I know I'd feel a whole lot better if you sent around a radio car to this neighborhood at once.
And what makes you think the murder's going to be committed in your neighborhood, ma'am?
Well, I don't know. Only the coincidence is so horrible. 2nd Avenue, the patrolman, the bridge.
2nd Avenue is a very long street, ma'am. And do you know how many bridges there are in the city of New York alone?
Yes, I know.
Not to mention Brooklyn, Staten Island, Queens, and the Bronx.
I know that.
How do you know there isn't some little house on Staten Island on some little 2nd Avenue you've never even heard about? How do you know they're even talking about New York at all?
But I heard the call on the New York dialing system.
Maybe it was a long distance call you overheard.
Don't.
Telephones are very funny things. Look, lady, why don't you look at it this way? Supposing you had it broken in on that telephone call. Supposing you got your husband the way you always do. You wouldn't be so upset now, would you?
Well, no, I suppose not. Only it sounded so inhuman, so cold-blooded.
A lot of murders are plotted in this city every day, ma'am. We managed to prevent almost all of them.
But
a clue of this kind is so vague. It isn't much use to us than no clue at all.
But surely you understand that this is
Unless, of course, you have some reason for thinking this call was phony and that someone may be planning to murder you.
Me? Oh, no, I hardly think so. I mean, why should anybody? I'm alone all day and night. I see nobody except my maid, Eloise, and she's a big girl. She weighs 200 pounds. She's too lazy to bring up my breakfast tray, and the only other person is my husband, Albert. He's crazy about me. He just adores me. He waits on me hand and foot. He scarcely left my side since I took sick. Well, 12 years ago.
Well then, there's nothing for you to worry about now. If you'll just leave the rest to us, we'll take care of it.
What will you do? It's so late. It's nearly 11 now.
We'll take care of it, lady.
Will you broadcast it all over the city and send out squads? And warn your radio cars to watch out, especially in suspicious neighborhoods like mine.
Lady, I'd said we'd take care of it. Just now, I've got a couple of other matters on my desk that require my immediate attention. Good night, ma'am, and thank you.
Oh, you idiot. Now, why did I hang up the phone like that? I think I'm a fool. Why doesn't Albert come home? Why doesn't he come home? Why doesn't he come home?
Your call, please.
Operator, for heaven's sake, will you ring that Murray Hill 70093 number again? I can't think what's keeping him so long.
I'll try it for you.
Try. I don't see why he doesn't answer it.
I'm sorry, Murray Hill 70093 is busy. I can call you back.
I can hear it. You don't have to tell me. I know it's busy. If I could only get out of this bed for a little while. If I could get a breath of fresh air. Just lean out the window and see the street. Hello? Albert? Hello? What's the matter with this phone? Hello? Hello? Oh, for heaven's sake, who is this? Hello? Who's trying to call me? Why doesn't she answer?
Your call, please.
Hello, operator. I don't know what's the matter with this telephone tonight, but it's positively driving me crazy. I've never seen such inefficient, miserable service. Now look, I'm an invalid and I'm very nervous and I'm not supposed to be annoyed. But if this keeps on much longer...
What seems to be the trouble, please?
Well, everything's wrong. I haven't had one bit of satisfaction out of one call I've made this evening. The whole world could be murdered for all you people care. And now my phone keeps ringing and ringing and ringing and ringing every 5 seconds. And when I pick it up, there's no one there.
I'm sorry. If you'll hang up, I'll test it for you.
I don't want you to test it for me. I want you to put that call through, whatever it is, at once.
I'm afraid I can't do that.
You can't? And why? Why, may I ask?
The dialing system is automatic. If someone is trying to dial your number, there's no way to check if the call's coming through the system or not. Unless the person who's trying to reach you complains to his particular operator.
Well, all the stupid. And meanwhile, I've got to sit here in my bed, suffering every time that phone rings, imagining everything.
I'll try to check the trouble for you.
Check it. That's all anybody can do. Oh, what's the use of talking to you? You're so stupid. Oh, well, I'll fix her, the impudent. Dare she speak to me like that? Dare she? Call the operator. Why does it take so long?
Your call, please.
Young woman, I don't know your name, but there are ways of finding you out, and I'm going to report you to your superiors for the most unpardonable rudeness and insolence. It's ever been my privilege. Give me the business office at once.
You may dial that number direct.
Not a direct. I'll do no such thing. I don't even know the number.
The number is in the directory, or you may secure it by dialing information.
Listen here, you... Oh, what's the use? Oh, dear. For heaven's sake, I'm going to go out of my mind, out of my... Hello? Stop ringing me, do you hear? Answer me! Who is this? Do you realize you're driving me crazy? Who's calling me? What are you doing it for? No, stop it! Hello? If you don't stop ringing me, I'm going to call the police, do you hear? The police! Oh, Albert would only come home. Let it ring, let it go on ringing. Kind. I won't. Even if it goes... Stopped. Oh, what's the matter? Why did they stop ringing all of a sudden? No. Oh, what time is it? Where did I put the clock? 5 to 11. Oh, they've decided something. They're sure I'm home. They heard my voice answer them just now. That's why they've been ringing me. Why no one has answered me? I'll call the operator again. Operator. Where is she? Why doesn't she answer? Why doesn't she answer?
Your call, please.
Where were you just now? Why didn't you answer at once? Give me the police department.
I'm sorry, the line is busy. I can call you back.
Busy? But that's impossible. The police department can't be busy. There must be other lines available.
The line is busy. I'll try to get them for you later.
No, I've got to speak to them now, or it may be too late. I've got to talk to someone.
What number do you wish to speak to?
I don't know, but there must be someone to protect people beside the police department. A detective agency.
You will find agencies listed in the classified directory.
But I don't have a classified. I mean, I'm too nervous to look it up, and I don't know how to use the...
I'll connect you with information. Perhaps she'll be able to help you.
No. You're being so spiteful, aren't you? You don't care, do you, what happens to me? I could die and you wouldn't care. Oh, my God. Stop it. I can't stand it anymore. What do you want? Stop ringing, will you? Stop it.
Is this Plaza 42295?
Yes, I'm sorry. This is Plaza 42295.
This is the Western Union. I have a telegram here from Miss Albert Stevenson. Is there anyone there to receive the message?
I'm Mrs. Stevenson.
The telegram is as follows. Miss Albert Stevenson, 53 North Sutton Place, New York, New York. Darling, terribly sorry. Tried to get you for the last hour, but line busy. Leaving for Boston 11 p.m. tonight on urgent business. Back tomorrow afternoon. Keep happy. Love. Signed, Albert.
Oh, no.
Do you wish us to deliver a copy of this message?
No, thank you.
Thank you, madam. Good night.
Good night. Oh, no. No, I don't believe it. He couldn't do it. No one he knows I'll be all alone. It's some tricks, some fiendish trick. Why doesn't she?
Your call, please.
Operator, try that Murray Hill 70093 number for me just once more, please.
You may dial that number direct.
Oh. Murray Hill 70093. Oh, he's gone. Oh, Albert, how could you? I can't be alone. I can't. And if I'm alone one more second, I'll go mad. I don't care what he says or what the expense is. I'm a sick woman. I'm entitled.
Information, may I help you?
I want the telephone number of Henchley Hospital.
Henchley Hospital? Do you have the street address?
No, it's somewhere in the 70s. It's a very small, private, exclusive hospital. I had my appendix out there 2 years ago. Henchley, Hench. Please hurry, and please, what is the time?
You may find out the time by dialing Meridian 71212.
Oh, for heaven's sake, I have no time to be dialing.
The number of Henchley Hospital is Butterfield 70105.
Butterfield 70105.
Henchley Hospital, good evening.
Nurses registry.
Who is it you wish to speak to, please?
I want the nurses registry at once. I want a trained nurse. I want to hire her immediately for the night.
I see. What's the nature of this case, madam?
Nerves. I'm very nervous. I need soothing, companionship. You see, my husband is away, and I'm...
Have you been recommended to us by any doctor in particular, madam?
No, but I don't see why all this catechizing is necessary. I just want a trained nurse. I was a patient in your hospital 2 years ago, and after all, I do expect to pay this person for attending me.
We quite understand that, madam, but these are war times, you know.
Well...
Registered nurses are very scarce just now, and our superintendent has asked us to send people only in cases where the physician in charge feels that it is absolutely necessary.
Well, it is absolutely necessary. I'm a sick woman. I'm very upset. Very. I'm alone in this house, and I'm an invalid. And tonight I overheard a telephone conversation that upset me dreadfully. In fact, if someone doesn't come at once, I'm afraid I'll go out of my mind.
I see. Well, I'll speak to Miss Phillips as soon as she comes back in. What's your name, madam?
Phillips? And when do you expect her in?
Well, I couldn't say. She went out to supper at 11 o'clock.
11 o'clock? But it's not 11 yet. Oh, my clock has stopped. I thought it was running down. What time is it?
Just 15 minutes past 11.
What was that?
What was what, madam?
That clicked just now on my own telephone. As though someone had lifted the receiver off the hook of the extension telephone downstairs.
Well, I didn't hear it, madam. Now about this.
I did. There's someone in this house. Someone downstairs in the kitchen, and they're listening to me. I won't pick it up. I won't let them hear me. Be quiet, and they'll think. Oh, but if I don't call someone, they're still down there. There'll be no more time.
Your call, please.
Operator, I'm in desperate trouble.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you. Please speak louder.
I don't dare. There's someone listening to me. Can you hear me now?
I'm sorry?
You got to hear me. Oh, please. You've got to help me. There's someone in this house. There's someone who's going to murder me. And you've got to get in touch with. You've got to. You've got to get in touch with. Oh, there it is. There it is. Did you hear it? He's put it down. He's put down the extension phone. He's coming up. He's coming up the stairs. Give me the police department. The police department. Police department. Give it to me.
One moment, please. I'll connect you.
I can hear him. He's near her. Oh, I hear him. He's coming.
Police Department, Sergeant Martin speaking. Police Department, Sergeant Martin speaking. Police Department, Sergeant Martin speaking. For goodness sake. Police Department, Sergeant Martin speaking.
Police Department? Oh, I'm sorry. Must have got a wrong number. Don't worry. Everything's okay.
And so closes Sorry, Wrong Number, starring Miss Nadia Nazar. Tonight's tale of suspense. This is your narrator, the man in black, who conveys to you Columbia's invitation to spend this half hour in suspense with us again next Saturday, when we'll have another starring Hollywood cast, headed by Miss Dolores Costello, with Martin Kozlik, Ian Wolfe, and George Zuko. The producer of these broadcasts is William Spear, who, with Ted Bliss, the director, Lydia Gluskin, the musical director, and Lucille Fletcher, the author, collaborated on tonight's Suspense.
This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Thank you so much, everyone, for coming. I don't know if I can be seen right now, but if you can see me, that's the end of our show. Thank you so much, everybody, for coming to TBD's Night of Radio Dramas. I had so much fun. I hope you did too. Follow us on Instagram at mica.tbdtheater for announcements about upcoming programming that we have going on, which might include a movie night, or find us in the club section of the Mica app. Thank you so much. Have a good night. Yay, thanks for coming.